Okay, the recording has started. Okay, so we're going to begin now with the salutation to the Buddha. And everybody please mute unless you're going to be speaking. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Okay, so today we start the spring semester, spring 2021 semester for the study of the sutta study. And we resume, we're in the Anguttara Nikaya. And at the point where we broke off before the winter break, we were about to start sutta number 123. And to properly understand this sutta, we have to get some picture of Buddhist cosmology. And so I'm going to switch screens to a chart showing the Buddhist Cosmos from the Comprehensive Manual of Abhidharma. Do you see that? Do you see the chart with the cosmology?
Yes, Bhante.
Yes, Bhante.
Okay.
Is it possible we can increase the size, please?
Okay.
It's hard. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. How is the size now?
Very well, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have three major divisions in the Buddhist cosmology. We have the sense sphere plane, or sometimes called the desire realm, and the fine material plane, sometimes called the form realm, and the immaterial plane, sometimes called the formless realm. And each has number of divisions. So the sense sphere plane has two major divisions. One is into the woeful plane, or the plane of misery, which includes the bad realms of rebirth. So we have at the bottom the hells, then the animal realm, and the realm of the pretas, the afflicted spirits. In Chinese, so it's translated Wei, which means hungry ghosts. And then sometimes another realm is put in, the asuras, though in the suttas they're not included in the woeful plane. In the suttas, rather than the Abhidhamma, the suttas usually just speak about three realms of existence in the woeful plane, the hells, the animal realm, and the pretas. Then we come to the happy destinations of the sense sphere plane. We have the human realm, which of course is the realm that we are inhabiting. Then we have 6 sense sphere heavenly realms. We don't have to go into the details, but what's characteristic of them is that as you go up the scale of the sense sphere heavens to each higher realm, the lifespan increases, actually doubles from realm to realm. Okay, then one rises above the sense sphere plane and one comes to the fine material plane, or the form realm. And to be reborn into the form realm, one has to, as a human being, one has to have attained a jhana. And the different planes of existence in the form realm are counterparts of the 4 jhanas. And the general principle is that each jhana plane has 3 divisions according to whether the jhana is attained at a relatively weak level, at a medium level, or at a strong level. So for the first jhana, we have 3 planes: Brahma's retinue, Brahma's ministers, and the realm of Mahabrahma. So these are graded according to whether the attainment of the first jhana is relatively weak, middling, or strong. Then for the second jhana, again, we have 3 divisions: the realm of minor luster or minor radiance, infinite luster, infinite luster or infinite radiance, and the plane or realm of streaming luster or streaming radiance. The third jhana plane, also 3 divisions: minor aura, infinite aura, and refulgent aura. But sometimes I think the word glory might be used. Minor glory, infinite glory, and refulgent glory. Then with the fourth jhana plane, things work out a little differently. And this seems a bit strange. For the ordinary jhana planes, see, we just have 2. One is the realm of great reward, which, and then you could see, I should have mentioned that you could see that for these realms also, the lifespan increases as you go from the lower level to the higher level. Okay, then at the fourth jhana plane, we have only one plane or one realm in which there's full consciousness, and that is the realm of great reward. And apparently, those who attain the fourth jhana, whether weak, middle, or strong, without developing any paths or fruits, are reborn in the realm of great reward. But there's another plane in the fourth jhana, another realm, called the non-percipient realm. And it's said that there are meditators in the human realm who see perception or consciousness as being an affliction, a source of distress, a cause of misery. And so they aspire in their meditation to be without perception, without consciousness, without awareness. And so they develop the fourth jhana, and then they apply the fourth jhana in a certain way to suppress consciousness, to suppress perception. And as a result of that, they get reborn according to their aspiration in the non-percipient realm, the realm without perception. And so in this realm, their organism consists only of the physical body. There's no mind, no consciousness. The 4 mental aggregates, feeling, perception, volitional activities, consciousness, are absent. There's just a physical body, but they haven't attained true insight and true liberation. And so they remain in this realm for the assigned lifespan. In this case, it's 500 aeons, 500 great aeons. And then when they pass away from this realm, then they take rebirth elsewhere, generally coming back, I think, to the human realm. And again, the process of ordinary life begins again. Okay, then above these 2 realms, there are 5 realms which are called the pure abodes. These are the realms of rebirth exclusively for human beings who achieve the stage of non-returner. That is the third path and fruition stage on the way to arhatship. Arhatship, of course, is the fourth stage. So just below the stage of arhatship, there are meditators who cut off the fetters that bind them to the sense sphere planes of existence. And so they will not take rebirth back into the human realm, nor even into the sensual heavenly realms, but rather they take rebirth into the fine material realm. And those who develop the highest level of samadhi as non-returners will be reborn into one or another of these 5 pure abodes, according to the strength of their samadhi meditation. So we have the 5, the durable, the serene, the beautiful, the clear-sighted, and then the highest pure abode. And again, you can see the lifespan increases among these pure abodes. Okay, then for those who master the formless meditations or the immaterial sphere meditative attainments without reaching any path of fruition, they will take rebirth into the plane of existence that corresponds to their level of attainment. So there are 4 immaterial sphere attainments: the base of infinite space, base of infinite consciousness, base of nothingness, base of neither perception nor non-perception. And corresponding to those 4 levels of meditative attainment, there are 4 planes or 4 realms of existence with the same names: the realm of infinite space, the realm of infinite consciousness, the realm of nothingness, the realm of neither perception nor non-perception. And you can see the lifespan here increases from 20,000 great aeons to 40,000, 60,000 to 84,000. And what determines rebirth into any of these planes of existence is, of course, the karma that one creates, and particularly for us, the karma that we create as human beings. So as human beings, if we create and accumulate strong, unwholesome karma, then we take rebirth into one or another of the 3 bad destinations. The heaviest, most grimmest, most disastrous, unwholesome karma will lead to the rebirth in hell. Lesser degrees of unwholesome karma can lead to the animal realm, the realm of pretas, or the asura realm. If as a human being one generates a lot of good karma of the relatively mundane type through the practice of generosity, through acts of kindness and compassion, through observing precepts, and through the lower levels of meditative practice, then one can be reborn back into the human realm under good conditions, or into the sense sphere heavenly realms. If as a human being one attains the jhanas, then one will be reborn in the jhanic realm that corresponds to the level and the strength of one's jhanic attainment. If as a human being one becomes a non-returner and has the 4th jhana, then one will be reborn in the pure abodes. And if as a human being one attains the formless meditations or immaterial attainments, then through the force of one's samadhi or meditation, one will be reborn in the immaterial planes. So that is the basic cosmology of early Buddhism and the connection between karma and planes of rebirth. So all of that forms the background for the sutta that we're going to consider here. So here the text speaks about 4 kinds of persons existing in the world. I'm going to take off the headphones, which I don't really need. Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, Bhante.
Yes.
Oh, I'm not getting the voices of others. So let me put the headphone back on. Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, Bhante.
Okay, but you didn't hear me just before when I said, can you hear me?
Yes, we could hear you even then. Yes.
But yeah, but I didn't, but you mentioned that, but I didn't get, for some reason, your voice didn't come through. So we'll do it this way, okay. Okay, so now we'll come to the sutta. So the text begins by speaking about a meditator who attains and dwells in the first jhana. We don't have to go into the jhana formula. We've done that, gone over that many times. Okay, now the important point here is that this meditator, the text says, relishes it, that is, delights in it, desires it, and finds satisfaction in it. And who wouldn't really like and enjoy the first jhana? Because it has this piti sukha, this rapture and bliss born of seclusion. Okay, now the text goes on to say that if he or she is firm in it, resolved on it, intent upon it, and often dwells in it, and when this person dies, they have not lost the jhana, then that person is reborn in companionship with the devas of Brahma's company. And the Pali has Brahmakayika Deva. So that can refer to any of the 3 planes corresponding to the first jhana. It uses a general expression. And what's the key expression here is that the meditator has not lost the jhana when they die. This does not mean that the meditator has to actually be in the jhana state at the time of death, but rather it means that the meditator is still regularly continuing to practice the jhanas and from time to time enters and dwells in them. But maybe the meditator, say, is a jhana practitioner, but maybe they are taking a walk or doing some, maybe sweeping the leaves outside on their lawn, or shoveling snow if it's the winter, and then they get a heart attack and they die. So they're not in the jhana at the actual time of death, but still, because they're regularly practicing the jhana, we could say that they have not lost the jhana at the time of death. And this would be a contrast with somebody who may be as, say, a young person in their 30s and 40s. Yes, from my perspective, somebody in their 40s is a young person. So they're a jhana attainer. And I've heard of people like this, meditators in Sri Lanka, who in their 30s and 40s could be very, very good meditators. And they're able to attain the jhanas. But then somehow, maybe when they reach, Okay, the late 40s, the mind gets somehow overcome by worldly desires. Or by worldly ambitions, thinking I have to make a name for myself, I have to make some impression on society. And then they lose their interest in meditation and they become involved in worldly activities. And then they neglect to continue to practice the jhana. So you could say that that person, and then they continue that way for the rest of their life, never resuming their practice of meditation. Then you could say that when they die, that they have lost the jhana. But here we have the case of a meditator who is continuing to practice the jhanas, who delights in it, and is firmly resolved on it. So when this meditator dies, he, it could be she, is reborn in the company of the devas of Brahma's company. And as I said, in principle, that could be any of these three divisions of the Brahma world. But the next sentence says the lifespan of the devas of Brahma's company is an aeon. It's one aeon. So even though there are three possibilities here, the sutta seems to be highlighting the highest level, which is called the realm of the Mahabrahmas, the great Brahmas, because they have the lifespan of one aeon. Okay, now comes the important portion of the sutta, where the text is going to describe the difference between an ordinary worldling who attains the jhanas and a noble disciple of the Buddha who attains it, or an instructed disciple of the Buddha who attains the jhana. Okay, so the first sentence says that the worldling remains there in the Brahma world all his life. And then when he has completed the normal lifespan of those devas, which is one cosmic aeon, then he goes or is reborn in hell, in the animal realm, or the preta world, the sphere of the afflicted spirits. And I think the commentary makes an important point here. It says that when the text says that he goes to hell and so on, in some stuff, okay, this does not mean that he goes there to hell or the animal realm and so on in his immediately following life, but rather in some subsequent life, because he hasn't abandoned the karma that leads to hell. And then the Abhidhamma texts explain that when you pass away from the form realm, you can't immediately take rebirth in one of the three lower realms. And then it directs us to the Comprehensive Manual of Abhidhamma, page 27, 227, so let us go there. So the Comprehensive Manual tells us that passing away from elsewhere in the fine material plane is from any other place except the non-percipient realm. One may be reborn either in the immaterial realm, that is, if one attains one of the immaterial jhanas, or in a fine material, some other plane in the fine material realm, if one has attained another fine material jhana, or in the sense sphere plane, if one has generated strong karma tending towards that plane. So one who takes rebirth in the sense sphere plane after passing away from the fine material plane must do so with either a two-rooted or a three-rooted rebirth consciousness. Now, those who are reborn in the hells the animal realm and the realm of the hungry ghosts have a one-rooted rebirth consciousness. So to be reborn with a two-rooted or three-rooted rebirth consciousness, this means that they will be reborn in the sense-sphere plane, either in the human realm or in one of the sense-sphere heavenly realms. But once they're reborn back in the human realm or in the sense-sphere heavenly realms, subsequently, they can generate unwholesome karma, which will lead them to either the hells, the animal realm, or the sphere of afflicted spirits. So that is the case with the worldling. But in the case of what's called the Blessed One's disciple, that's the learned disciple of the Buddha, the disciple will also remain there all his or her life. And then when they complete the entire lifespan of those devas, then they attain final Nibbana in that very same state of existence. That is, they attain, according to the commentary, they attain final Nibbana while remaining in the form realm existence. They don't take a lower rebirth. Okay, so this is said to be the distinction, the difference between the instructed noble disciple and the uninstructed worldling, that is, in regard to their future destination and rebirth. So the important point here is that the disciple of the Buddha who attains the jhana would have to be, I would say, a disciple who has at least a minimum degree of right view, probably needing the right view of insight, would be capable of attaining final Nibbana, final liberation in the fine material sphere itself, not taking rebirth back into the sense sphere. And the question might come up, does this disciple who attains final Nibbana in that very same state of existence have to be at least a stream enterer? And the sutta doesn't explicitly say that. And the commentaries use an expression. They've come up with an expression called, just put this in, they call it oops. The expression is a Jhana Non-Returner, which means somebody who is not an actual non-returner in the sense of having attained the path and fruit of non-returning, but they've achieved a jhana and they have sufficiently clear right view and strong development of insight so that they can take rebirth into the form realm. And within the form realm, they use their insight to develop sufficient wisdom to cut off all of the fetters, all of the bonds within the form realm and attain liberation there, to attain arhatship there. So when they pass away as human beings, they're not a non-returner, but they're attainers of the jhanas with strong insight, wisdom, enough to achieve liberation in their next existence in the form realm. Okay, so this is the first case that's mentioned here. Maybe we go through the whole sutta because the rest of the sutta all unfold basically in the same way. It's just the level changes. Okay, so in this next case, we have the meditator who attains the second jhana. Again, in the same way, they relish it, desire it, find satisfaction in it. They have not lost it when they die. And so through the second jhana, they will be reborn among the devas of streaming radiance. Let's go back to the table. So they will be reborn among, the text says, among the devas of streaming radiance. Though actually through the second jhana, they could be reborn even among the devas of minor radiance, infinite radiance, or at the strongest and highest level, the devas of streaming radiance. And then what's interesting, this is a bit puzzling, the text says the lifespan of the devas of streaming radiance is 2 aeons, whereas in the Abhidhamma system, the devas of streaming radiance are said to have the lifespan of 8 aeons, and it's the devas of minor radiance who have a lifespan of 2 aeons. So there's some contradiction here between what the sutta says and the Abhidhamma system. How to resolve that, I don't know. But I think it's not that important. Okay, then again, the same principle. The worldling will remain there all their life. And then on passing away, they might go to hell, the animal realm, the sphere of afflicted spirits, whereas the Buddha's disciple remains there all his or her life. And then right there in that very existence, they attain final Nibbana. Then the next is the third jhana. Okay, the one who attains the third jhana, delights in it and retains it at the time of death, is reborn in companionship with the devas of refulgent glory. And here it says the lifespan of the devas of refulgent glory is 4 aeons. And again, there's a contradiction with the Abhidhamma system, where the 4 aeons refers to the devas of infinite luster. And according to the Abhidhamma system, the devas of refulgent glory have a lifespan of 64 aeons. And the worldling who is reborn there on passing away could be reborn at some later time in hell, the animal realm, or the sphere of afflicted spirits, whereas the Buddha's disciple remains there all his life, and on completing the lifespan, attains final Nibbana in the form realm itself, without passing back into the sense sphere realm. And then we have the case of the fourth jhana, meditator who attains the fourth jhana and has not lost it when they die. So they are reborn in companionship with the devas of great fruit. Here it's called great reward, just different translations of the same term. And the sutta says that the lifespan of the devas of great fruit is 500 aeons. And that's in agreement with the Abhidhamma system, which also has these devas with a lifespan of 500 aeons. Now I have to say that the Abhidhamma system actually makes better sense to me than what's said in the suttas, because otherwise, if we follow the sutta, then we jump from the highest level of the third jhana with a lifespan of four aeons to the next level with 500 aeons. Whereas in the Abhidhamma system, we go up gradually. But even then, the jump from 64 aeons at the highest level of the third aeon to 500 aeons at the lowest level of the fourth jhana, it still seems rather a disproportionate jump in lifespan. But I'm not the one who makes that up, so I can't explain. Okay, so the ordinary person, or both of the meditators, are reborn among the devas of great fruit with a lifespan of 500 aeons. Then the worldling might remain there all his life, 500 aeons, enjoying the tranquil bliss of that realm of great fruit. Then they pass away, they take rebirth elsewhere, maybe back into a sense sphere heavenly realm, back into the human realm, and then they might create unwholesome karma which leads them to hell, the animal realm, or the realm of afflicted spirits. But the Buddha's disciple remains there all his or her life, and then on completing the lifespan, they attain final Nibbana in the form realm itself, without ever dropping away from the form realm back into the sense sphere realm, and without ever having any possibility of rebirth in the lower realms of existence. So that is the difference between the instructed noble disciple. And what's interesting here is that in this place, the expression uses, the text uses the expression instructed noble disciple, and contrasted with the uninstructed worldling. Whereas earlier, the text just used the expression the Blessed One's disciple, and contrasted that with the worldling. What is the difference between the uninstructed worldling and the instructed, knowledgeable, noble disciple? Okay, let us see if we have some questions. Now I have to find, okay. So I see Olivia. Let me try to get the speaker to work so we could record the questions. Okay, can you just speak, not ask your question, Olivia, just say, good morning, Bhante.
Good morning, Bhante.
Okay. Oh, but I have this. Okay, say it again.
Good morning, Bhante.
Okay, now it's audible. Okay, you could ask your question now.
Okay. This is just a curiosity question, Bhante. I was under the impression that the graduation from one level to another in terms of lifetimes is based on the strength of a person's karma. But when the Buddha's disciples' movement between their new realized realm is indirectly based on the strength of the factor of right view, that's where I'm getting a bit confused, because I would have imagined that right view, the value of right view, is built into the formula of karma. Why is it separated?
I'm not quite sure that I understand the question. Okay, what I said is that it is the right view. Okay, the Buddha's disciple is reborn here and he has right view. And in the past, I would presume that they've developed a fairly high degree of insight, wisdom. So that would be the faculty that enables the disciple to cut off the fetters within that realm and to attain final Nibbana. The rebirth into the realm is governed by the strength of the meditative attainment. So the meditative attainment itself generates karma, and that karma is of different levels of strength, first corresponding to the jhana, the difference between the first, second, third jhana, first, second, third, and fourth jhana. And then even within one of those jhanas, there's a difference in the strength between the first, a difference in strength between relatively weak or immature, middling, and strong or mature. So it's a difference in the strength or maturity of the jhana that distinguishes whether one is, which of these three planes one will be reborn into. And it's the right view, particularly when the right view is reinforced by the actual experience of insight wisdom, that enables the disciple to cut off the fetters and to attain the paths and fruits within the form realm, cut off the paths and cut off the bonds and fetters, and attain final Nibbana in that state of existence. Does that make it clear?
Somewhat, it seems like after they migrate from one level to another, that the intensity of the faculties can still work towards where they're progressing towards. And ultimately, Bhante, this is a little, it's a little too much to comprehend, but I was just curious as to how one fitted into the other. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I think there are other questions, but thank you.
Okay. Okay, then we come to Vinyu.
Yes. Good morning, Bhante.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, Bhante. As always, I have curiosities on the world cycle versus the aeon. Are they the same? Because like during Buddha's time, when he mentioned about aeons, is his understanding and our understanding at modern time is the same? It's like 1 billion years equals to 1 aeon, and our world is 4.5 billion years. So how does the calculation work out during the Buddha's time and our time? Are they the same? Hello?
I don't know, actually. All that can be said is that the aeon, what in the Pali is kappa, in Sanskrit kalpa, is supposed to last an extremely long time. And the texts don't give any like numerical figures of how many years it is. In fact, there's some suttas in the Samyutta Nikaya where a Brahmin or a monk comes, I think it's a monk, comes to the Buddha and says, can you tell how many years make up a kalpa? And then the Buddha says, it's very difficult to say how many years make up a kalpa in terms of thousands of years, millions of years. And then the monk says, is there a way to illustrate this with a simile? And then the Buddha uses several similes. He says that the most famous one is the simile of a mountain 7 miles high, 7 miles in width, made of solid granite. And then a man comes by every 100 years with a piece of Benares cloth, fine cloth, and strokes the mountain one time. And then the Buddha says that mountain will wear away more quickly than an aeon will come to an end. So I don't really think that's possible, because if you stroke the mountain one time with a piece of cloth, it's not going to change the constitution of the mountain at all. But anyway, it's just a simile for the purpose of showing that the aeon lasts an extremely long time.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Okay. Say a person when during Buddha's time died, and that he got reincarnated gain a rebirth in the minor in the sorry.
Non-recipient realm.
Yep. In the second, he attained second jhana, and he went into the light of immeasurable light, where he actually has the capability of decide when to come back to this earth and get rebirth in this earth.
Wait, say this. You say that he's reborn in the realm of non-recipient realm?
Yes, or any other realm, say into Sita heaven.
Okay.
Can he actually has the ability or to decide when is he coming back to this world to gain rebirth in this world?
Generally not. In the case of most of these realms of existence, as you could see from the table, the lifespan is fixed. Whoops. The lifespan is fixed. It's definitely determined. So when you complete the full lifespan in these realms, then you pass away and then you take rebirth elsewhere in accordance with your karma. In the case of the human realm and the lower realms, the lifespan is indefinite. So the human being can live anywhere from, they can die almost as soon as they're born, even in the womb, or they can live up to, maybe even 120 years, even longer. But in the case of the Deva worlds and the Brahma worlds, it's said that the lifespan is fixed. So when you come to the end of the lifespan, then you pass away. But you're not able to choose, on the whole, you're not able to choose your next rebirth. You get reborn in accordance with the storage of karma. A major exception of that is a bodhisattva in his last existence before coming into the existence in which he'll achieve Buddhahood. So the bodhisattvas in their last existence dwell in the Tusita heaven, and they wait there until the time is right in the human realm. And then they intentionally pass away from the Tusita heaven and come into the human realm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dayani?
Yes, good morning, Bante.
Good morning.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused with this jhana realm, Bante. So for those beings who are born in a fine material form, are they constantly in the jhana state and suppress their defilements?
Yeah, that's a good question. And the answer seems to be no, that they're not constantly in the jhanic state. What we could say is that the jhanic attainment is what I would call the base level of consciousness for the beings in those realms. So it's sort of the ground level of consciousness for the beings in those realms. So that it's, in the Abhidhamma terms, it's the level of their rebirth and bhavanga consciousness is the jhana consciousness. So that when they are not involved with anything else, they can very easily just slip into the jhana and spend much of their time absorbed into the jhana. But the way we see it in the suttas, they come out from the jhanas and they can even give rise to wrong views. For example, in the Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 49, there is a being in the Brahma world called Bhakka the Brahma. He's actually one of the Mahabrahmas. And he gives rise to the wrong view that he is the all-powerful, almighty creator God, and that life in his realm is eternal and everlasting. And then the Buddha visits him in that realm and convinces him that he's adopted a wrong view. And then there's also some other sutta in the Brahma Sangyutta, in the Sangyutta Nikaya, I think it's the same Brahma or some other Brahmas also adopt wrong views or become full of conceit and arrogance. We're getting some noise. Let's see where it's coming from. Okay, we'll go on with the questions.
Bante,
Yeah.
so since they once in a while emerge from the jhana, and like as what Bante explained in the Nikaya, they still have conceit there in that realm. But am I interpreting it wrongly? In one of the Abhidhamma textbook that I read, it say in this fine material realm there are only wholesomeness. But if there is a expression of conceit there, it seems like there is unwholesomeness there too.
No, that would not be correct. You can't say that there's exclusively wholesomeness or wholesome mental states in the fine material realm. If I remember the Abhidhamma, I'd have to look into it. But let's just take a quick look if I could find it. If I remember correctly, the beings in the fine material realm do not have thoughts rooted in hatred, but they can have thoughts rooted in greed and ignorance and other defilements.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd have to go searching. But I'm very sure of by way of plans. Let's see. Yeah, I won't try to find this now, but I'm quite sure my memory is correct on that point. That the beings in the Brahma world, they can have chittas or mental states rooted in greed and delusion, but not rooted in hatred. Okay, we'll have to take some other questions. Okay, Sud.
Thank you, Bhante. It seems like you answered two of my questions already, but I do have a third question. So my second question, again, just to clarify your previous statement, is so the beings in those high deva realms, they can still do unwholesome deeds, just not, I guess, ill will. So is that right? And then the second question would be,
About doing unwholesome, they would have unwholesome chittas or thoughts, but there would not be unwholesome deeds. Of course, there's no killing there, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, because there's no sexual differentiation in the Brahma world. I guess there's no lying, slander, harsh speech, or idle chatter. Yeah, but it's just the chittas that are
gotcha,
unwholesome.
And that would characterize as unwholesomeness.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then the third question, actually, second question, I should say, is so the worldling and the disciple of the Buddha, the differentiation between those. So can a person practice Buddhism, right? Like, he's doing his best and he's practicing Buddhism. Is he still considered a worldling, or is he would he be like one of the disciples of the Buddha according to this sutta? Or does it have to be the disciple of the Buddha is always one of those four attainers?
The impression that I get from this sutta is that it is not referring specifically to disciples who are one of like on the four levels of attainment. But it says instructed noble disciple. And when it uses the expression noble disciple, Arya Savaka, as I understand it, it does not necessarily mean a disciple who is a noble one, who has reached one of the levels of noble path and fruit, but rather it seems to be used in a broad sense. But it's not just somebody who might consider themselves to be a Buddhist in that they go to the Buddhist temple, make offerings to the monks and so on. But this would be somebody who is knowledgeable about the Dhamma, keenly observant of the silas, of the precepts, and dedicated to the practice, and probably engaged in the practice of samatha and vipassana meditation. Certainly it would have to be samatha, they'd have to be a jhana attainer, and probably having some level of realization of insight wisdom, even without reaching path and fruit. That's my interpretation. But the sutta is not very explicit about that point.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, then we come to Chung. Did you?
Morning, Bhante.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. Good morning, Bhante. Thank you very much. May I just clarify that one who takes rebirth in the sensual plane after passing away from fine material plane, so can only be born as a human or a deva? Is that right? Because they can only have be reborn with either two-rooted or three-rooted rebirth consciousness?
Yeah, according to what was said in the Abhidhamma on that point, the Abhidhamma manual that I referred to before, on page 227.
So,
Wait,
Bhante,
yeah, it seems that they can be reborn. Either they can be reborn if they develop a formless or immaterial jhana, they can be reborn in the immaterial realm, or
right.
they can be reborn, they can develop some other fine material sphere jhana and be reborn back into the fine material realm. Or if they don't have those attainments, then they will be reborn either into the sense sphere, heavenly realms, or into the human realm. So
I
quite
see.
a range of possibilities, but according to the Abhidhamma, from the fine material realm, one will not be reborn directly into the 3 or 4 miserable realms of rebirth. That there has to be some like other state in between.
I see. So that's because in the 3 or 4 woeful states, these are rootless consciousness. Rebirth consciousness are rootless. That's why the beings from the fine material realm cannot be reborn there, right, Bhante?
Cannot be reborn where?
In the woeful states, because
Yeah.
the beings there are born rootless. Is that right?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Bhante.
Yeah. Okay. Changhua Chang.
Yes, good morning, Bhante. Okay, if I remember right, the cheetahs of the life form in the fine material realm are all resultant cheetahs. So
Yeah.
my question is, which is supposed to be karmically neutral? So my question is, are those life in the fine material realm can create new karmas or not?
Oh yeah. The beings in the fine material realm can create new karma, because they have the rebirth karma. I'm sorry, the rebirth cheetah and bhavanga cheetah. Those are resultant cheetahs, but once they're reborn there, then through their active cheetahs, they'll be creating new karma.
Then why those new karma cannot determine where they go the next life? Why the lifespan is fixed?
The karma will determine where they can be reborn in the next life. It's just that they won't generate the type of strong, unwholesome karma that will lead to an immediate rebirth in the lower realms, into the realm of misery. But they generate karma that will lead them to their next rebirth, either in the immaterial sphere, back into the fine material sphere, into the lower heavenly realms, or into the human realm.
Okay, thank you, Bhante.
Okay, Pramaha Chanya.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, I can hear very clearly.
Uh, uh, could you please explain me how many khandhas of the being in the Brahma world? It Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, or it just the mind?
No, in just about all of the planes of the Brahma world, all 5 khandha will be present. Let me just get the table. Except for the non-percipient realm. In the non-percipient realm, it said only the Rupa khandha, the aggregate of material form, is present. But in all of the others, all 5 aggregates are present. But in the immaterial sphere plane, in these 4 planes, only 4 aggregates are present, excluding the aggregate of material form.
It means Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana, right?
Yeah, all 5 are present in all of the realms, the fine material sphere,
Right.
except for the non-percipient realm. In the 4 immaterial planes, only Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, no Rupa khandha.
Thank you. And even the level of the heaven also, like Tusita, Yama, something like that, do they have 5 khandhas?
The sense sphere heavenly worlds?
Right.
Yeah, they will have all five aggregates.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we'll take Brian. Brian?
Yes. So there were 2 questions. They're kind of related. If you can only take one, take one. I had heard somewhere, I'd read somewhere a while back that, they said a Sotapanna has 7 births, till Nibbana. And then I'd read the thing that I'd read that said, well, they're not really births. Each one could be, comprised of dozens of births, just in different worlds. That was the first part of the question. The second part of the question was a Sotapanna. Maybe they're on the 3rd or 4th rebirth. How would they know? Is there anything that would be different? Suddenly if they're in a place where, the conditions aren't really well aligned for that, or do you know what I'm trying to ask?
Okay, let's take each question in turn. Okay. What the text says is that the text does say 7 more existences. Though I've seen like some maybe later commentaries say that, I don't know, I just will go with what the suit usually said in the suttas, 7 more existences amongst devas and human beings. So I'm not going to get my mind involved in pondering whether there can be subdivisions of those or not.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe it's not practical. And then the second question, whether a Sotapanna can know how many more existences they have.
Or even if it was the first or the,
I don't know, and I don't think it's necessarily fixed. I think it depends very much on the amount of effort that they devote to the practice. So initially, maybe when they attain Sotapatti, No, actually, there are 3 divisions of the Sotapannas. One is fixed, determined to have 7 more lives, but no more than that. That's the maximum. Then there's the minimum called the one-seater, who has just 1 more life. So they're different from the once returner because they haven't yet reached the stage of once returning, but they have only 1 more life. And then in between, there's the middle level who can have anywhere from 6 to 2 more lives. But whether they can know how many lives they have, that I don't know. Okay, Sue, did you have your hand up because you had another question?
Yeah, just a quick one, sir.
Okay.
So my question is, when we offer merit at the end of these sessions, are we offering it to all of these devas, or I mean, who are the devas who are helping Buddhists advance on their path? I mean, I don't know.
Probably some of them will be, I don't know, we just use the expression devas. We never really thought about that. But I would think that they could include Chatu Maharajika, Tavatingsa, maybe Tusita. We never hear very much about the Yama Devas, apart from the name. So the Devas that seem to be in regular interaction with the human realm are the Chatu Maharajikas, Tavatingsa, and Tusita Devas.
I see.
Yeah, but the verse just says the Devas. It doesn't get more specific. And that means that we have come to the time when we have to end the program for today. So let us end with the sharing of the merits. And so you do the sort of loving kindness meditation, and I'll recite the verse for sharing of the merits. And I also want to specifically share the merits of our class today with the people of Myanmar or Burma, who are going through an extremely difficult period now, as many are just of the peaceful protesters are being shot in the streets. Even last weekend, 500 people were killed. Or maybe the total so far is at 500 people shot and killed, including children and babies. So let's hope that a peaceful resolution emerges in the country of Myanmar, a solution that will be agreeable to the citizens of all the citizens of the country. Okay, so we'll share the merits with the devas, the whatever devas they be, the nagas or the dragon spirits, the bhutas or fear spirits, and so on. Akasata chabumata deva naga mahidika punyantam anumoditva chirang rakantu sasanam. Akasata chabumata deva naga mahidika punyantam anumoditva chirang rakantu desanam. Akasata chabumata deva naga mahidika punyantam anumoditva chirang rakantu mang parang. Bhavagupa daya vici hetato etantare satakayupapanna rupya rupicha sanya sanino dukha pamuchantu pusantu nibuting dukha pata chani dukha baya pata chani baya soka pata chani soka antu sabepi tanino. May those in suffering be free from suffering. May those in fear be free from fear. May those in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all living beings also be thus. Okay.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu,
sadhu.
Sadhu,
sadhu.
sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu,
Thank
sadhu.
you.
Okay,
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much,
Bhante.
Thank you,
Happy to you, Bhante. Enjoy the lunch.
Thank you, Bhante.
Good to see you,
Bye.
Bante. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay, thank you for joining. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bante.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to have to end now.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Thank you so much, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Moro.
Okay.
Love your smile.
Okay.